Now, we said that we have scarcity, the fundamental fact of economic life. And because of scarcity, that means that our resources are not sufficient to satisfy all of our wants. We have to make choices. Well, because of scarcity, we make choices, but a choice involves a cost. We want to talk about that cost that comes when we make choices. If we want to satisfy one particular want, we need to use resources. But using those resources means we can't satisfy some other want that those resources could have been used for. So suppose that we want to build more hospitals. We want to have more hospitals to provide more medical care. So we're going to need building materials to build the physical hospitals. We're going to need physicians and nurses assistants and all the various medical staff and the people who help run the organization. Well, those building materials cannot be used then to build a spaceship to Mars. And those people, those doctors, those nurses, those assistants, they can't be trained as astronauts to go to Mars. Right? If we're going to use them in one purpose, we can't use them for something else. So to satisfy one want, we're using resources and we're taking them away from what they could have done instead. So making a choice to satisfy one want means we are also making a choice not to satisfy another one. We're giving up something else. If we want more hospitals and physicians and nurses, then we have to give up the spaceships we could have built, the astronauts and scientists we could have trained to go to Mars. Therefore, every choice has a cost. Every choice that we make has a cost, and that we're giving up something, we're sacrificing something whenever we do something. We could have done something else. And that is called an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is officially defined this way. It's the value of the next best alternative that is foregone in order to undertake some particular action. That's kind of a fancy way of saying it. What it means is, what could we have done instead? What could we have done instead with that time, that money, those materials, those people? What could we have done instead? That is the opportunity cost. And every choice we make, every action we take involves giving up something. So everything we do involves an opportunity cost. And therefore, we like to say, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You might have heard that expression. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Economics believes that in wholeheartedly because everything we're doing, we're giving up something else. So, suppose I offer to take you to lunch. I'll pay. Is that lunch free? Is it free for you? Well, it's not free for you. I'll pay, but you still have to use your time. Right? You could have done something else. Is that lunch free for society? Well, we could have used those resources that we were making that food with. We could have used those resources to do something else. So that lunch is not free even though you're not paying for it. There's no such thing as a free lunch. So here's a little cartoon that illustrates that same idea. What is the cost to you of taking this class? Right? There's a financial cost, but maybe somebody else is paying for it. Maybe it's not out of your pocket. Does that mean the course is free? Well, the answer is no. This course is not free to you. You could be doing something else with your time. You could be doing something else instead of reading the textbook or doing problems or watching these videos. You could be doing something else. That's the cost to you of taking this course. A little quiz. Do you recognize that person? 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 Right? they have one thing in common. They are all Olympic gold medalists. You might recognize Michael Phelps. You perhaps might recognize Aly Raceman. Probably less likely that you recognize Kristen Armstrong or Matthew Centrowitz, although he's got his name there. But they're all gold medalists for the United States in the 2016 Olympics. Now, there's an interesting fact about Olympians in general, and that is that they're getting older. The people on the Olympic team are, generally speaking, now older than they used to be. So in 1988, the average age of Olympians in the United States was 25, and in 2016, the average age of Olympians is 27. So the people who were on the Olympic team in 1988 were, generally speaking, younger than the people who were on the Olympic team in 2016. Why is that? Well, I guess you can make an argument, an economic argument like this. That for a long time, Olympics was about amateurs, amateur athletes, people who would compete for the glory of their country and for individual glory, but they're doing it for the country. But it's now the case that athletes receive prize money. In the United States, for example, most of the Olympic sports federations awarded $25,000 to any U.S. athlete who won an Olympic gold medal in 2016. So, and you can make money doing other things as an athlete by being an athlete now. So that means that you can make a living as a professional athlete in an Olympic sport that didn't used to be the case. Therefore, there is less of an opportunity cost of being an Olympic athlete. You're more likely to stay in that sport longer. You're not giving up as much by being an Olympic athlete as you used to be, and therefore people do it more and do it longer. So, opportunity cost can help us understand something like why the Olympic athletes are getting older. Here's some other examples of opportunity cost at work. When there's a high unemployment rate and it's hard to find a job, more people go to college. Going to college has an opportunity cost, the opportunity cost of what you could have made working. Well, if you weren't going to be able to find work, then the opportunity cost of going to college is a lot lower. So more people will go to college. When the economy is in bad shape, the opportunity cost of going to college is lower then. Convenience stores typically have lower prices for the same items that regular grocery stores do. You're paying for the convenience. There's an opportunity cost of your time to going to a regular store as opposed to a convenience store. And that opportunity cost shows up in the price, the monetary price. A couple of summers ago, I happened to drive through Iowa. And Iowa is farmland, obviously. And driving through these country roads, basically had no shoulders along the side of the road. Nevada, which is mostly desert, has a lot wider shoulders along the highways. Why is that? Because the opportunity cost of the land is a lot higher in Iowa than it is in Nevada. You could use that land in Iowa to grow a large amount of crops. So if you're using it for a highway shoulder, you're not using it to grow crops. In Nevada, if you're using the land for shoulder, well, you really weren't going to be able to do much with it anyways. So you're not giving up much by having a wider shoulder in Iowa. So different opportunity costs tell us how wide the shoulders on the highways are going to be in different parts of the country. Opportunity cost at work.